Welcome to Simple Solutions Family Cafe. I am so excited that you're here with me as we go live. Let me see if we are actually, oh my goodness, there we are. Welcome, friends. I'm so excited that you're here with me again today for our Facebook Live. My name is Dr. Angela Searcy, and I'm so excited to read actually two books. Here we go again for you today. Oh, there we go. Now you can see which books that are in front of you. And these books, actually, we're going to be delving in to these fun, great books, but also talking about how to talk to children about the things that are going on in our society in terms of protests and in terms of racial violence. So we'll be sharing in between those stories some tips for families and also be able to talk about this in a developmentally appropriate way for really young children. I'll also talk about how to, think about race and also riots and protests for older children as well. And please type in your questions or comments in the chat box. I will be looking there as well to be able to support you with any questions or wonders or worries that you might have about these topics. Okay, don't forget, if you like these family cafes, please continue to like my page or to share them. Our family cafes will happen every single Friday at 12:30 Central Standard Time. Okay, everyone, come on, kids, come sit around. Let's actually read our first story, which is Rainbow Fish. What do you think this story is about? Oh, I see. Yes, the fish is in the water. You are right. Oh my goodness. Let's look and see what's inside. The rainbow fish was the most beautiful fish in the sea. But he never played with the other fish. I'm too beautiful, he thought. He is beautiful. Do you see all the colors? All right, let's turn the page. What do you think will happen next? Once a little bluefish asked for one of his shining scales. But Rainbow Fish laughed. Never, he said. After that, the other fish swam away from him, and Rainbow Fish was left all alone. Yes, I've been alone too. It's not fun. He went to the starfish to ask for help. Why doesn't anybody like me? He asked. Go ask Octopus, said the starfish. She is very wise. Yeah, do you see? What do you think starfish is going to say? Let's see. The octopus said, give away your shining scales. You won't be as beautiful, but you will have friends. I can do that, cried Rainbow Fish. Let's see, do you see the octopus? Oh, yes, you are right. The octopus has many arms. Let's see what happens next. Suddenly, the little blue fish was back. Please, he said, could I have just one scale? Well, the rainbow fish thought, maybe just one tiny scale. The little blue fish was so pleased, it made the rainbow fish feel very happy. What makes you happy? Oh, yes, and ice cream. Yes, and popcorn. That makes me happy too. All right. Soon all the fish came. Oh, there are many. Yes, you are right. We should. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6. Oh, you missed that one. 7. 8. There's rainbow fish. Did we get them all? Oh, you are right, there are shells as well. Soon all the fish came, and Rainbow Fish gave away his scales one by one. Finally, he only had one shining scale left. But now, as he swam off to play with his friends, he was the happiest fish in the sea. Well, what made Rainbow Fish so happy? You are right. Sharing made him happy. Sharing with his friends. It is a good story. Well, families, this book is a perfect book to talk about sharing and being able to share with your friends. This book actually is also has a book nook. Now, before I mention to you, book nooks are actually activities that help you to extend the story later on. So I'm going to share in the chat. Yes, I'm doing it right now. These book nook activities. What you can do is you look in the chat box, and yes, now you're able to see it, where you can actually download extension activities about rainbow fish. It is a great book to talk about, yes, of course, colors and numbers and fish and the sea. So science is in there. Also talking about friendship is really important with rainbow fish. It's a great book to talk about sharing. So even just kind of like saying, hey, can you share like rainbow fish? What happened when rainbow fish shared? Yes, he might have lost some things, but he gained some friends. And what could that mean as we explain that to a really young child? So as we think about rainbow fish, oh yeah, friends, we'll come back. We actually have okay. So first we read Rainbow Fish, but kids, we're also going to read another book called Sometimes I'm Bumbaloo. But right now, before we read our next story, I'm just going to take a few minutes to talk to your family. So you can start, yes, going around like you are a fish, mm-hmm. sharing things just like rainbow fish as I talk to your parents, your family members, and also educators. Barbara, I just shared those welcome, Barbara. I just shared the activities in the chat box. So you should be able to see, I'll share it one more time in the chat box. You should be able to see that. I hopefully, yeah, it pops up because I can see your chat. So hopefully you can see my chat. Go ahead and click those activities where it says one is for rainbow fish. The other PDF is for Sometimes I'm Babaloo. I got those activities from CSEFL, the Center for Social Emotional Foundations and Early Learning, that has some great stories and activities and literature when it comes to dealing with social emotional skills. Now, Barbara, please chat in the chat box if you still can't see it. I just shared it twice. But what I want to share is that, as we think about these activities, and I'm just going to kind of think about some of them. We could have extension activities with drawing, or talking about sharing a book, or sharing a bowl of ice cream. Parents could use these. Oh my gosh. Oh, you see them. Welcome. I see you in the chat box, everyone. So you could talk about sharing a bowl of ice cream with your child. You could talk about being a rainbow fish and what that means, or times when they don't want to be a rainbow fish. So one thing for parents to do is that when children come over to visit, especially for young children, but this could be used for any age, they don't want to share. So what you want to do is you want to have a basket in your home that's called the sharing basket. The sharing basket includes all the toys that they want to share when visitors, right, nephew, cousins come over, or other children come from a play date. Everything else, they can have a separate basket or just have in their room closed off things they don't want to share. So the sharing basket is things they want to share. Okay, so make sure you have a sharing basket. And then, right, the other basket is things that are private to them. Sometimes we ask children to do things that we wouldn't do. There's certain things in your home that you would not want to share, correct? Okay, yes. Can I get an amen? So we want to make sure that we never ask children to do something that we don't want to do. No, we don't share everything. We think about what we want to share and what we want to have out. So that's one way to think about how to right to help children think about sharing. The sharing basket could also work for teenagers as well, middle schoolers. So really talking about what do I want to share and what do I want to keep private. Now, Rainbow Fish is a great story right now. Well, it's great anytime, right, everyone? But it's really, come on, give me some of those emojis. Give me some, right? Give me some of those, yeah, give me some of those reactions so I can see them. So Rainbow Fish is a great story to share anytime, but especially now as we talk about, right, things that are going on in our society, in our country, throughout the world, as we talk about sharing, taking turns, sharing thoughts, sharing ideas, sharing emotions. So Rainbow Fish isn't just about sharing items or things, but also about sharing emotions and feelings. And if you're having a lot of feelings right now, that definitely makes sense. So I had some families that asked me to share some information on the feelings that we're feeling right now, the racism, riots. How do you exactly talk about these abstract ideas to all ages of children? When you think about young children, you just want to share what's happening. Now, I've heard some say, well, I don't want to share this with a young child because it could scare them. Go ahead, everyone, chat in. If you've worried about maybe this will take away their innocence or they will scare them, then give me an amen, because definitely some families worry about that. But one thing we need to remember is that racism and riots are continuing to go on, whether we talk about them or not. And children are hearing this on the news or they're hearing it amongst their friends. And you would not want that conversation to happen without a child understanding what it means or having your input about it. So, thinking about, well, not talking about something, does it preserve someone's innocence? And does not talking about something also send a message of silence? And maybe children thinking these topics or discussions are taboo, and them coming away with a not having a clear understanding. So if you're thinking like, well, wow, this seems like it's too much for, like, I have a 3-year old. How do I explain it to them? If you're thinking about infants and toddlers, the first thing is to calm yourself and relax yourself. Infants and toddlers take in all of your energy and all of your emotions. So saying, oh, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths after watching this news segment can really be helpful for infants and toddlers as they're trying to figure out why you're reacting a particular way to what you're seeing on television. As we talk about preschoolers, we have to remember that, wow, we talked about this last time at our family cafe. Young children notice differences just like everyone else. And just because you don't talk about them doesn't make them go away. You have to remember, if your child has seen a Disney movie, they've seen some pretty heavy topics already. Bambi's mother died. So if your child is like, well, what happened? Why is everyone angry? You could just say in very simple, developmentally appropriate, right terms, matching their age, that a man named George Floyd died. And if they've seen Bambi, they can actually, right? That's a movie. Or Nemo, Finding Nemo, again, about fish, right? That death is not something that we don't talk about with young children. When you talk about it, you just give very accurate, concrete information so that children can understand the topic within their developmental level. As children become older, they're going to ask more verbal. They're also going to ask more questions. And then you can make sure that you give correct information. Children are going to talk. They're going to talk to their friends. They're going to talk to other people. So it's kind of in the same vein that, oh my goodness, right? We talk about the talks, right? This isn't the only one. There's also the other talk, right? And just because I might say the word sex, that doesn't mean that children aren't hearing that word, right? They may even say, line up according to sex at school, and they may be confused. So the more that, right, not talking about it doesn't necessarily make someone abstinent, right? So not talking about racism or riots doesn't mean they didn't go away, and it means that children aren't losing innocence. Fires are scary, but we also talk about fire prevention at school. Okay, tornadoes are scary, but we don't talk about how to protect yourself or what to do when there's a tornado. So, in the same vein, we want to share information with children. It doesn't make them, actually, it makes them more scared not to know what to do. And talking about racism and riots actually helps children to process that information. Okay, and then come up with solutions or ideas or thoughts about it. I can share when I was a young child. Yeah, people are like, really? Do we have to talk about this with young children? Yes. The first time that I actually had a discussion about race was when I was a really kind of discussion that kind of made me frightened was actually in preschool, where another little girl came up to me and she said that your skin's really dirty. And I said, wait, are you sure? I don't know if my skin isn't. And she said, yes, it's really dirty. What you need to do is you really need to wash it. Let's go in the bathroom together. And so she wasn't angry at me. She wasn't upset at me. She was just as confused as I was. So we went in the bathroom and we tried to wash it off, but it wouldn't come off and my skin didn't look like her skin. So then she said, I don't know what to tell you now. We use soap. We tried. I was like, yes, you're right. We tried to clean it, but it still doesn't look like your skin. So then she said, you need to go talk to your mom. Maybe she'll be able to help you. And so I run home talking to my family, asking them questions as a preschooler. And of course, my parents explained to me about skin color, that the little girl was not correct. I was like, I didn't think she was right. My parents had talked to me about race and color before, but I was just making sure she wasn't right, and that actually I was frightened. So then if someone had mentioned this to me before, and if they had mentioned it to that other little girl, so the other little girl was a Caucasian girl, and of course, as you can see, I'm African American, and she was noticing the difference between our skin, and she just didn't know how it got to be that way. So she was confused. Her confusion led me to be worried. So here's the thing. Children are talking about differences, hair differences, sex differences, eye color, no matter what. They're in the world, everything is new, and they're going to talk about it. But it's really important to have adult input in those conversations. Otherwise, I felt quite scared at first that something was wrong with my skin and that I was missing it somehow. And so my parents, of course, explained to me about my skin color, and they said that it wasn't dirt on there, but I felt frightened. And so children are still going to feel frightened. And if you actually mention and discuss these things before they feel frightened, then you will actually make them feel more confident and you'll make them feel good about themselves. And if you give great explanations that are age appropriate, then they're prepared, just like they'll be prepared when there's a fire. We don't wait to talk about, the stove being hot, before children can understand the inner workings of a stove. We tell them in very simple terms, it's hot. So just saying that, yes, my color is not dirt. It is actually what my color looks like. That is the color of my skin. Then that will actually alleviate fears and help children to be more confident. Oh, Katie, I'm glad you love this. I'm glad you're liking this advice. So just like we talk about tornado drills, what we're talking about race and riots is to prepare children for when those instances could occur. And as you notice, they can occur at any time. You not talking about it doesn't mean that it will never occur. And a tornado may not occur, but of course we're prepared for it. A fire may not occur, but we still talk about stop, drop, and roll. So now, instead of stop, drop, and roll, we're going to talk about friendship, color, how to respond when somebody says, hey, something's wrong with her skin. Oh, nothing's wrong with her skin. Well, it gives children confidence. It makes them feel good. And actually, not talking about it did not preserve my innocence. Talking about it helped me, right, actually did preserve my understanding. And learning is the goal. And so learning can never take away someone's innocence. Now, what you want to do is use age-appropriate language. We don't want to expose very young children to pictures or images or videos that are violent. Okay, come on, everybody, chat in with me. You want to limit that exposure. So as they were showing the video over and over again of George Floyd, you would want to turn that off for sure. But like we said, children are learning in Bambi about death. So then now we want to talk about, what does it mean? Someone got hurt. Someone was upset. My kids, no matter where you were in the United States, things closed early sometimes because of the fear of the riots. And you don't get me wrong, little kids know that grandma's not getting her water pill from Walgreens because it closed early. They're not oblivious to what's going on. So you want to give guidance to them. Well, yeah, she can't go get her water pill right now because some people got really angry and they're hurting each other. And young children know about getting hurt. And so you want to explain that in age appropriate language. And yes, Katie, it's good to empower them with knowledge. This doesn't have to be a scary conversation, just like we empower them with knowing what to do if someone's bullying them or someone's being, right? Yeah, that's another great conversation. Definitely type in the chat other questions that you have in conversations. But that's another good conversation about bullying or someone being aggressive towards you. How do you respond? How do you prepare yourself? So the riots and racial violence is the same way. If you are seeing a child get hurt, then you should go tell an adult. If you see other adults being aggressive, then come tell me or move away. Those are things to protect all races of children. You also want to describe how some children and some people are frightened or angry right now or frustrated, and how you can express, and some people, like in any situation, express their frustration with anger, and some people are expressing their frustration with words. And what that means to express your frustration with words is this new thing, right, for them anyway, not for us, called protesting. And peaceful protest is such a great thing to be able to do if you do it the right way. So those are the discussions that you're having with young children, that as children go older, you just add more details. So this conversation begins literally as infants and toddlers. Oh, I'm feeling really nervous right now, but let's take a deep breath. Okay, I'm all right. All right, I think we'll be okay. And then the conversation will grow in sophistication with the age of the child. And so then teenagers are talking more about when you see social injustice, this is the appropriate thing to do. When you're saying, do you know that some people feel unsafe? Tell me about how that makes you feel. Tell me about how when you feel unsafe and what you would do. What would you do in this circumstance? Discussions and talking and knowledge is always a good plan. It always supports children. And Katie is a preschool teacher. So Katie, thank you for chatting in. If we have more parents, come on, chat in with me, or preschool teachers on here, or those who work with older children or summer camp. Kids will be talking about this. And how do you respond? Well, first you want to ask them what they're feeling. Next, you want to label emotions if they don't have those words, and give them an emotional vocabulary and give them the appropriate words. They may have heard inappropriate words, and you want to give the input on what are appropriate words, just like any other situation when they say inappropriate words. You also want to talk about what they should do in those circumstances if they feel unsafe, and then encourage them to ask questions. If we don't, children will think again it's a taboo topic, and so your silence or your suppression of that topic will also send a message. And that message will be, you can't talk to me about everything you're thinking or everything you're feeling. And we don't want that message to happen either. And when children can't talk to adults about what they're thinking or feeling, guess what? They talk to other children. And then we get a situation like telephone. Have you ever played telephone where children are like, you say a message and then children carry, right, the message to each other. And by the end of telephone, as you carry the message from one person to the next, the message is, the original message has changed. And that's what happens to children when they tell each other a message. The message gets confused. They share it from their own perspective. They leave out appropriate words. They can't repeat the words. So when children learn from children, well, they're not learning from the best, right? They're not learning the best lessons. And we want to make sure that children are learning the best lessons. And that is something that you want to make sure you give that adult support. So worries, no worries, right? If they've learned about Bambi and, right, Finding Nemo, they know about sadness, hurt, right, death, right, those kinds of feelings. That's in every single Disney movie, right? And Disney got it right. And so you can get it right as well. So next, okay, all right, chat in your comments or questions. I'm glad you like this guidance. If you like this, share this. But yeah, the kids can be listening. I've said nothing that's right, but you would say age appropriate words. Make sure that your discussions match your child's language. If your child has very little language, you would show them examples that fit for their age range. Sesame Street has great examples, right? Some of those great tried and true resources can build those conversations, as you're saying, Katie, and those connections. And that is really key. So I guess key things to think about is that not having conversations doesn't preserve children's innocence. Making sure they're age appropriate and responsive. Being responsive preserves children's innocence. And I'm going to repeat that. Being cautious, careful, caring, having caring responses preserves a child's innocence. Having no response leaves children alone, and it leaves them confused. And we want to have the caring, responsive, right, reactions that fit for their age level. As children get old, a couple of things. Oh, I mentioned a few things. So one thing I want to highlight is just use this within your daily conversations, okay? So conversations that you use are just normal, right, conversations that you have with young children, um, such as, things you see on TV, conversations that they hear, like we said about grandma's water pills and why can't she get them because Walgreens is closed. So those are the kind of conversations that you're having. And I'm seeing something where it says trouble with playing my video. So I'm not sure if you could see my video right now, but I'm actually going to continue because that happened last week and my video was still playing. So I hope it's still playing. And also sparking conversation with literature. So literature is a great way, drawing pictures, everyday events, and drawing children's attention to race, um, people's responses, because what we want to do is help children to learn more. Just like you draw children's attention to, yes, Katie, you draw their attention to maybe a square and what type of shape it is. You want to draw children's attention to attributes. Bring those ideas out. Make them feel comfortable talking about black and white and yellow. And we talk about those colors, and sometimes we feel uncomfortable speaking about them in terms of race, but children are still noticing them, whether you bring them out or not. And you bringing them out brings an appropriate learning opportunity. So think about those teachable moments. Well, I'm not sure, Katie, I know that you've been chatting a lot, and everyone, please continue. I hope that you can still see my video. My computer does say it's having a little bit of trouble showing my video, but I'm actually going to continue with the story and hope that it's still showing. And the next story is Sometimes I'm Bombaloo. And Sometimes I'm Bombaloo is about getting angry. And Sometimes I'm Bombaloo is actually in the chat box. And I'm going to share it one more time. It is for some extension activities. And Sometimes I'm Babaloo is a great discussion to talk about the riots. So, I'm glad that I'm a blessing. Thank you, Katie. Katie, if you could chat in, if you could still see me. My computer says my video went out. Great. I'm glad you can still see me, Megan. Hey, Megan, how are you? Eileen from Australia, how are you? Well, I can't see myself, but I'm glad you guys can still see me. And I just love your comments. And actually, I'm going to share this story about Sometimes I'm Babaloo. Is a great one to talk about anger. So this one I'm going to share, which I shared just talking about, well, what are riots and what is racism? Well, sometimes people actually get angry. And sometimes children get angry, and sometimes we get angry. And so this is a great story to talk about. It's a wonderful one to use anytime, but it really stuck out to me now as I think about what's happening in terms of, people getting frustrated or riots. And so actually this is one that I would use to explain the riots, that sometimes people get angry and sometimes they're bumbaloo. So I'm going to read the story. So kids, if you took a break or you were stretching, come back in, everybody. Come back in, kids. And I'm going to read the story. It's called Sometimes I'm Bumbaloo by Rachel Volley. And all the books that I'm reading today are with permission from Scholastic. So thank you, Scholastic, for giving us permission to read these books. And Rainbow Fish is a great book by Scholastic. And also, as you can see on the back, here's my Scholastic stamp. Sometimes I'm Bumbaloo. This is a great one about losing your temper. Rachel Val, I think it's Val, not Valley, it wrote the words, and Yumbi Hio drew the pictures, and she's the illustrator. All right. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's 4 in the morning, Eileen. You're up early. Glad you joined. My name is Katie Honors, and I'm a really good kid. I smile a lot because I'm happy and I give excellent hugs. Now remember, I can't see myself in video, so I'm trying to make sure that you guys see the book well in front of me. All right. I brush my teeth without being reminded too much. I can Velcro my own shoes. And put my toys where they belong, including the ones with 64/8 small pieces. Oh, you have toys too? Oh, let's see what else. I remember about using my napkin and the magic word. Do you remember that? Yes, please, and thank you. Good job. I don't whine, stamp my feet, or growl, even if my brother knocks down my beautiful castle I just built and told him not to touch it. And I'll never be able to get it to look like that again. Sometimes I hold in the tears and pushes and just say, that's okay. You do that too, friends? Ooh, good work. But sometimes I'm Bumbaloo. I show my teeth and make fierce noises. Show your teeth, everyone. Show me your Bumbaloo. My face scrunches tight like a monster's. Oh, wow. I use my feet and my fists instead of my words. My toys end up all over the floor. And so does my brother. Oh no. Do you know people that use their fists instead of their words? Do you ever get upset? Do you ever stomp your feet? Yes, some people do that. And that's why yes, I saw it too. Our stores got closed. Yes, this is true. Oh, it was really frustrating. Yeah, using your words is much better. But sometimes we can all be Bumbaloo. There's a lot of yelling when I'm Bumbaloo, and some pointing at my bed. Oh man. Who do you think is who do you think is pointing? Oh, Katie, thanks for joining. Thanks for sending a hug. Who do you think is pointing? Oh, I think that is her. Yep, I think it's her mom and dad. I have to go take some time for myself and think about it. Oh yeah, yes. I've done those. Those sometimes mommies and daddies and teachers call them timeouts or quiet times. Yes, you are right. Quiet times can be helpful. But when I'm Bumbaloo, I don't want to think about it. I want to smash stuff. You're right. I did hear about how people did smash things. I think they were bombaloo. I can come out when I'm ready to control myself and say I'm sorry to my brother. But while I'm bombaloo, I'm not sorry. I'm angry. I hate everybody and everything, even my dog Vanilla, and my penny connection, and my blankie, and my mother, and all of my clothes in my drawers. Yes, it's hard when you're bombaloo. Mm-hmm. You've been bombaloo too? Me too. On their way out of the drawer, a pair of underpants lands on my head, like a hat. Then I laugh. I'm Katie Honors again. Oh, there she is. She's not Bombaloo anymore. I know. Sometimes I'm Bombaloo, and then sometimes I forget. And I'm sorry, and a little frightened. It's scary being Bombaloo. You were scared when you heard about the people being like Bombaloo? Have you ever been scared when you felt these same feelings? Me too. My mother knows that. Yes, our mothers, our teachers, our fathers, our nanas, our papas. Yes, they all, abuela. Yes, they all know that they understand what it's like to be bombaloo, and sometimes they've been bombaloo, and they know time out can really help you to get yourself together, right, and make you yourself again. She hugs me and helps me clean up the mess bombaloo made. And then after some sorries and kisses from my little brother, we build a new castle together. You're right. Some people made a mess after they became bombaloo. But what we can do is we could go out in the community and help them put it all back together. We can help them to, we'll hug them. And yes, I'm sure they are sorry. They lost their temper. And sometimes we all can lose our temper. Sometimes we're all happy. Sometimes we lose our temper. Nobody's only bombaloo. And no one is always happy, right? All people have a little bombaloo inside. And when we feel that way, we all have to be empathetic. Oh, what's empathetic? Empathetic means that you understand. You understand what it means to be bombaloo. And you hug them and help them feel better. You like that? All right, everybody, start singing. Thank you for my story. Thank you for my story. Thank you for my story. Well, I hope that you enjoyed reading about being bombaloo. And now you better understand that some adults can also be like bombaloo, as well as children. And when it happens, we all have to be understanding. Oh, Megan, yes, grumpy monkey. Type in the chat box if you know another story like Sometimes I'm Bombaloo. There's parents on our live stream, and there's also grandparents, there's teachers who would love to get more ideas for stories. I'll make sure that I'll share a book list into the chat box so you can get more ideas. I'll also share in the chat box a video clip just about being able to talk about race that I had just recently on Chicago Tonight. So I'll share that as well. And I hope that you join me again. If you like this family cafe, like my page and share this out to others. We have a family cafe every day in June from 12:30 Central Time to it takes, sometimes it ends about one-ish, okay, or one or so. So in every family cafe, we read at least 2 stories. And the stories are really just about what's happening now and right during this time, which can be really challenging. I think everybody just needs a little extra hug and a little bit more, right? You're right. You like the story time. A little bit of extra hug and a little bit more care during this time. For families that are out there, Simple Solutions Educational Services shares resources. So there's resources for educators as well as for parents. So be sure to share this out. And if you have other questions or comments, be sure to be able to, put them in the comments section. So we had a little bit more time, and usually I said I was going to read 2 stories, but I see that we have quite a few people that are on today, and so I'm going to actually, is it okay, everybody? Did I read one more story? Okay, go ahead and put in the chat if you want one more. Do you want one more? Okay, all right. We're actually going to reach over and grab one more story. So, for those of you who are, before I read our story, I did want to show you the book nook for Sometimes I'm Bombaloo and what exactly the extension activities were. So, extension activities include making a book called Feel Better Book. A Feel Better book could be all the strategies and ideas to help you to feel better when you are Bombaloo. That book could be shared with others or put in a classroom or in your home. Another idea is to use Play-Doh and be able to use Play-Doh to get your anger out. So I also want to share that. What ways can you get your anger out when you're feeling like Bombaloo? Like shaking up a water bottle is a great way to get your, make sure it's tightly, make sure the top is on there really tight. You get water everywhere. So thinking of a list of things to do when you're Bombaloo. Music and movement. So you could draw or play music that fits with your emotions. And then also create a card box. Hey, who has a cardboard box? If you have a cardboard box, you could create a house for when you're Bombaloo that you can go in. You can use a cardboard box. You can make like a little drape to put around yourself and use fabric if you don't have room for a box. And then cover yourself while you're being Bombaloo. Also, children can use this term anytime when anyone is being angry and not using their words. Wow, oh boy, Barbara is like, go for it. I want one more story. So thanks, Barbara, for joining. And we're going to share one last story, and this one is about emotions. This is a picture book called On Monday When It Rained. This book, oh man, let's see, it's by Cheryl Krakenmeister. That's Cheryl. I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. And photographs by Tom Boothine. And this book again is being read with the permission of Scholastic. Thank you. All right. On Monday when it rained, my mother said I couldn't play outside. I wanted to ride my new bike with a blue horn to my best friend Maggie's house. So I was, what do you think? Oh, if it rained, what do you think he was? Disappointed. Everyone make their disappointed face. Here's mine. That's disappointed. Oh, I see yours. Good job. On Tuesday, when my grandma came to dinner, we had macaroni and cheese and chocolate milk. I drank my chocolate milk real fast, and right before we had cookies for dessert, I burped out loud. I was, what do you think he was? Embarrassed. Embarrassed. Have you ever been embarrassed when you, it just means that you did something you didn't mean to. That's what embarrassed means. Yes, I've been embarrassed too. Oh, keep going. All right. Oh, do you know which day of the week it is now? We said Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. On Wednesday, when I went to preschool, we drew pictures of big animals in a zoo. My teacher, Laura, said my elephant looked just like the one she saw at the zoo last summer. I was, what do you think he was? Huh? Proud. Show me your proud face. Here's mine. I actually fold my arms when I'm proud. I go like this when I'm proud. Oh, that is good. You guys are proud. Now what day of the week is it? You are right, Thursday. On Thursday when I watched a movie, There was one part where a big monster ate a whole building. My sister said monsters aren't real, but this one was green and it had a long tail and scales and it looked real to me. And I was, what do you think? Scared? Show me your scared face. Come on, this is mine. Who gets scared? Me too. What calms you when you get scared? 3 deep breaths. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Pretend you have candles and blow them out. Good job. On Friday, when I went to my cousin Jamie's house, she wouldn't let me play with her new jump trunk in the sandbox. I always share my toys with her. And when she comes to my house and I have something new to play with, I was, what do you think? Angry. Let me see your angry face. Yeah, it's like the bumbaloo. What do you do when you're angry? The 3 deep breaths works again. Walking away like, right, yes, like in the other story. Yes, time out. That can be good. What day is it now? You're right. On Saturday when I got up, my mother said it was a sunny day. So we could go to the playground by the pond that has ducks. I went there once before and played on this rope climbing thing that looked like a pirate ship. I was, what do you think? What do you think? Excited. Show me your excited face. Show it to me. This is mine. Yes, sometimes you might jump up and down or you might cheer. Woo! When you're excited. Good job. Now what day of the week is it? You're right. It's Sunday. On Sunday, when I called my friend Peter to see if he could come over to my house to play, his mother said he was sick. My friend Katie couldn't play either because she had to do errands with her big brother. I was lonely. Have you ever been lonely? This is my lonely face. Yes, when I'm lonely, I like to play with someone. Sometimes I can play with my parents if I'm lonely, or I can pretend that one of my stuffed animals is real. You do that too? Yes, there are strategies for when you are lonely. You draw a picture when you're lonely? You could draw a friend. Good one. That night, when my dad put me to bed, we started talking like we usually do. I told my dad I thought it would have been quite a week. But my dad said he thought most weeks are like that. Then I wondered. Do you wonder? That's my wonder face. I wonder too. The end. Well, this week we got in 3 stories, and I hope you enjoyed all of them. I'll make sure I put the book Nook for on Monday when it rained inside the chat box so you can have some follow-up activities. And please share this family cafe. Yes, it's time. Yes, I know. It's time that I have to go, but we can share more time together. Please know that each Friday in June, we're going to have a family cafe, and I hope you join us at 12:30 Central Standard Time. Thank you.